Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Welcome into a hump day edition of the JP Peterson Show. I forget what day it is these days. I'm all messed up. We got somebody. We work 7 days a week because that's what we do here at the JP Peterson Show. We got so much to get to this morning as the Bucs get set for a divisional round game. Forget the wild card. It's all done. We're moving on to Detroit, and so much to get to. And Trevor Sikkema is going to join us this morning from Pro Football Focus, get kind of a national perspective on how people are viewing the Bucs. The Bucs? Did the Bucs even play in the game the other night? I don't know. I don't even think they did.
Wow.
Corey Long will join us. All kinds of great stuff coming your way. We got some great sound. We'll be talking some Bolts as well. Steven Stamkos ain't going anywhere. I'm not effing leaving. He's not going anywhere. Good morning to you, Peter Blake. How are you from the Sports Web?
Good morning, buddy. How you doing? And it is a happy
hump day
edition of the JP Peterson Show. I'm great. Weren't we just together here a couple days ago there?
Hours ago, it feels like, bro.
It does. And then you have the fog rolling in there. I think the people are trying to get me out. They're like, the fog's rolling in. And you know what? I'm going to stay online as long as I can because
I love it.
A win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it didn't matter if it was 1:20, 1:30, 1:40 in the morning.
What time did you finally get off?
About 1:40.
1:40.
1:40 in the morning, yeah.
You finally stopped.
I did. And, I did the Sports Web a long time ago when that late. There was free agency going on at midnight. True story. And I think I went until about 1:50 in the morning, and I had to get off because I forgot that I actually put something on the stove there, and I started smelling something burning. So I actually had to tell the people, listen, I can't report on free agency anymore because there was a big-time trade at the time. It was Antonio Brown to the Buffalo Bills. Listen, I got to get off. I'm going to burn my house down. I'll come back on. And, I've done it. I've done later than that before. But, yeah, it's good to be here, man.
Hey, double check that we're sending the show to my Facebook and my Twitter this morning, just if you can. So make sure everybody's getting the show this morning. We did. How many views did we get last for the post game show? I know we had a lot of comments coming in.
Yeah, definitely a lot of comments. I believe we got about 500 views or more than that. I didn't.
It was a little late, man. People were either drunk or we got 2,000 on the. I think it was the Jacksonville game. So
yeah,
interesting. What a night, though. What a night for the Bucs. We're going to get into it. Todd Bowles, I thought had his best press conference. Todd Bowles stepping up in the postseason, not only as a coach but in the press conference as well. Thought yesterday's press conference was very illuminating in many ways. There's one particular question that is making the rounds. That was probably one of the cringiest moments I think I've ever witnessed. And I've been through some press conferences where some interesting questions have been asked, but in this situation, that was pretty cringy. And I've asked some dumb questions, not that dumb, but I've asked some dumb questions in my career. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't come out right, but this was one of the dumbest questions ever, and you'll hear it, the cringeworthy moment in the sound we're going to play here in just a little bit. We'll hear from Tristan Wirfs, some other guys as well. So, but I want to get going this morning on a major theme of just the lack of respect for this Buccaneers team. And I kind of get it in some look, you get it, you limp into the playoffs winning the worst division. And yes, it was the worst division. There were 16-24 outside their division. And you win it with a 9-8 record, and everybody's rightfully so. You're not going to be favorites in just about any game. But the Eagles were just awful. I mean, the Eagles were awful down the stretch, and clearly the Bucs had way more than a puncher's chance to win this football game. I think what were they, 3-point underdogs? I mean, that's a coin flip, right? In the NFL. But treated with absolutely zero respect. And then yesterday, in watching the coverage of the game, I mean, literally, I watched an entire segment of the Pat McAfee show, I think it was. And they literally, besides the setup saying they beat the Bucs, did not mention one word when they were talking to Michael Lombardi about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not literally, not one word. It was everything was why the Eagles suck, why the Eagles were bad, what's going, and this is kind of endemic to our media these days anyway. Nobody wants to focus on the positive. Everybody wants to focus on the negative, right? Everybody wants to focus on, the who's breaking down, who's pointing the fingers, who's going to lose their job, who didn't live up to what they were supposed to do. And I get it. The Eagles are a bigger market, but the Bucs are still in the NFL. And to not mention one word about what the Buccaneers did, to not mention one word about what Todd Bowles did, not one word about Baker Mayfield, not one word about the defense that just absolutely throttled the Eagles. I mean, it's unprofessional, number one. It certainly isn't journalism, number two. And it just goes to show you time and time again, the Buccaneers are just, and Tampa Bay in general, just is totally disrespected. Now, I will take a little bit of, I do think the national narrative is always almost 95% wrong. And this is why I was so pleased to see the Buccaneer crew show up on Monday night the way they did. Because we took a lot of shots for the Eagles game on Monday Night Football earlier in the year, and rightfully so. That was about 50, almost 60% Eagles fans. That was embarrassing. We've taken hits, for not having a very big crowd at the Rays playoff games. You know my feeling on that. They don't, that owner doesn't deserve your support. He doesn't deserve your loyalty. And I get that. So, but from afar, people in a national perspective are going to look at that and say, what the hell's wrong with your fan base? You go to Lightning games, and typically, Steven Stamkos even mentioned it the other night that it didn't really seem like a home game. I think it was the Penguins when the Penguins are in town. I think it was the Penguins or maybe the Rangers, one of the two. Yep. And that's going to happen from time to time in the regular season. And I can't specifically get pissed off at Lightning fans for selling their regular season tickets when they had, if you're a season ticket holder and you got 41 games and you can sell 4 or 5 games and almost pay for your entire season ticket, how do you get, especially in this economy, how do you get mad at fans for that? It's a regular season game. I'm not going to get too bent out of shape, but I understand that promotes the national narrative that this is not a great sports town and we don't get respected the way we should. And especially the Buccaneers. You look at their playoff success, it pales. I mean, it absolutely overwhelms what the Cowboys have done. I think the Bucs are now 9-4 in the playoffs since 2002. The Cowboys are 4-13 since 1999 in the playoffs.
Wow.
Just awful.
Yeah.
And and the Bucs have, and it's in this iteration of the Bucs, and this is what also is so pleasing. This is not Tom Brady. Right? This is not Tom Brady. In fact, this team was severely handicapped by Tom Brady with the $35 million in dead cap money, but yet it still persevered enough to get to the playoffs and win a playoff game. And yes, have I been critical of this team and the coaching staff? Absolutely. When they needed to be criticized, in my opinion. You show up like that and play the Saints in a must-win game, that's not acceptable. That is unacceptable. And the way they played against Carolina, unacceptable. You got to be better than that. But the way they played, and we talk about this all the time. This is a week-to-week league. What are you going to do next week? How are you going to get your team prepared? And the Saints, yeah, that was the biggest game of the year. But you know what? The actual biggest game of the year was the one 3 weeks later, and that was Monday night. And what did Todd Bowles do in that game? Phenomenal performance from a coaching standpoint. And the fact that the players executed what he built in that week. You can come up with great game plans, but if you can't communicate it to the players, and it's oftentimes some of these game plans, and Todd Bowles has been criticized by some people who know what they're talking about that have played this game for a long, long time, that his defense is too complex, especially for younger defensive players. And I think to some degree, simplifying that defense with more man-to-man and less zone, zone coverages depend on everybody being on the same page and making the same determination at the same time. And it sometimes can be very confusing. I would kind of liken it to a band, a band that plays together, and the great bands you have your notes, right? It's the script is there, but the great bands feel out the tempo of each other. And they know, where the drum line is and where where the bass comes in and where the lead guitar comes in and where the vocals come in and out. And you can have it on a sheet, but you got to marry it all together in the execution. You got to do that all together. When you're playing zone defense, you got to see the same things and feel the same things at exactly the same time. And on that beat, when that guy does an out and up, and you got to carry that instead of going to the middle of the field, the safety and the corner have to see that at exactly the same time and see it the same way. That takes experience. It takes a certain type of talent that I'm not so sure these young players have. I'm not so sure Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are any good at that at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're not. And so as the season goes on, the coaches learn, we're not very good at that. And as much as I want to try to teach it and I want to try to, and it could be part of our arsenal and it's good in certain situations to have this in your back pocket. We're not very good at it. So we're not going to do it anymore. And that's a learning curve. And I think they've gotten to the point where they know they're not a very good zone team at all. And they play better in high pressure, man-to-man situations. And the Eagles, that offense kind of came their way with when A.J. Brown went down. That's great coaching. Look at the personnel. You got one guy out there, and Devontae Smith, who you got to worry about in coverage. And Devontae got his, but it didn't kill you. It didn't kill you because you were making plays on the other downs. 0 for 9 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down. That pressure was relentless. And here to say, when we're watching the tape, Kalijah Kancey was a monster. 6 quarterback pressures, 1 sack, a PFF grade of 80.5, I believe. And Trevor Sycamore from PFF is going to join us. I'm very familiar with Kalijah Kancey. He does all their college scouting. Loved the pick. We talked to him earlier in the season. Remember how much he loved that pick, and we all did. If you turn on the tape and you watch Kalijah Kancey and kind of ignored his diminutive stature as far as the defensive tackle goes, you saw a great player. But you didn't know how it was going to translate into the big boy NFL. And it's taken a little while for him to get going. But you knew that, athletic players like that find a way. They find a way once they get used to the size and the speed of the game. They find a way, and he'll continue to get better and better and better. But that was a guy that didn't play in their first game against the Eagles, and KJ Britt didn't play in the first game against the Eagles, and Yaya Diaby didn't play for the most part in the first game against the Eagles, and Ryan Neal played way too much in the first game against the Eagles, and Devin White played way too much in the first game against the Eagles, way too much.
Right.
So these are all personnel changes that Bowles made, and boldly so. And that's what we've been asking for all year long. How long have we been asking to get Devin White the hell out of the game? It makes a difference. It makes a difference. And we're going to play the Bowles press conference here. We'll stop it down in between because I think there's some very pertinent things that were said and some very stupid questions. So
and I'll tell you right now, how much of a difference has Kancey and Yaya Diaby made on this defense?
Wow. I mean, just
seriously.
Yeah. And Yaya Diaby, there's a third round pick right there.
Right.
And Zion McCollum was a 5th round pick. And let's start giving the flowers to Jason Light and what he has been able to do in the picks that he's been able to come up with. But the other part of that is the development of the player. And so let's give Todd Bowles some credit for that and the way he used him as a safety in this game. And they didn't know where he was going to play. So it was a masterful design, but also you're watching some good young, and this is one of the things we said at the beginning of the year too. One of the big things to watch this year is how the young players develop. Because, as I said many times, this team's not winning a Super Bowl. Huh? Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Maybe they get hot at the right time. Maybe you just get in because a lot of Bucs fans said one and done. Why make the playoffs for when you get eliminated in the first round? Because you think about last year getting eliminated by the Dallas Cowboys. But, not every year is the same. And once again, it's about getting in, just getting in. You never know. You take your chances. And if you get hot at the right time, here we are versus the Lions on Sunday.
And let's keep our eyes wide open. All right. You didn't beat the 49ers in week 1. You didn't beat the Ravens in week 1. You didn't have to. The Eagles were a mess. They were a mess, but I'm not taking away anything from what the Bucs did because the game wasn't close. They were a mess, but the game was a blowout. And when you blow out anybody in the playoffs in that situation, that's a hell of a win. And the way they did it, the way they executed it, the fans, the players, the coaches, everything. It was the most complete performance by the entire program I've seen in, probably since they won the Super Bowl. That's how good a game that plan it was, how well it was executed. And, when you watch something like that, especially, and it's, I kind of love, and I'm a junkie, Peter, and I haven't even gotten to watch the all 22 yet. But I can't wait. Right. It's like, I just can't get enough. And when you watch, a game plan, you see, okay, this is what they're doing. This is what they want to do. Let's see how they execute this. And then you watch them execute it, and you see how the other team is confused and just has no answers for it. It's like, man, it's like, again, I'll go back to the band analogy. That's why, like watching, the E Street Band and Bruce Springsteen at their height, perform. I mean, it's virtuoso. Mm-hmm. You're just watching a group of men and women in that case, yes, come together and just make something beautiful and perfect and amazing in a live setting. We're not editing anything here, and in the football sense, you got another team, a highly paid team that is trying to keep you from performing at your best. Right. And that's a whole nother element to it. And when you see it come together like that and the fans are going bananas and it's in a playoff game, it's just, I get chills, but I just get, this is what sports to me is all about. These guys work their asses off to get to that moment. And then in that moment, you just, everything just lays out perfectly and you execute it. And it's beautiful to watch. It's like, if you've ever hit your best drive, your perfect drive, right? And you're standing over the ball and your tempo is perfect and your swing line is perfect and everything comes together perfectly and you hit the ball and you hit it so solidly you don't even feel it. And the ball just takes off, in my case, 450 yards down. Okay, 180. You hit it down. I mean, it's just such a great feeling. But to watch a professional football team do that and the fans and everything, it was a magical night. It was a magical night. Looking at all the pictures and all the videos as I was yesterday from the fans, it was a magical night. It really was. I can't overstate it. I think we'll look back on this, and I certainly will in my career. And they'll, if anybody ever asked me, what were some of the highlights of your career, I'm going to say that playoff game back in 2024, as it is now, the 2023 season. Right. That night was a magical night where they just throttled the Eagles and, Ric Flair was woo. And, Rondé Barber fans were there and the Eagle fan it was nice having about 10% Eagle fans so you can crap on them on the way out. That's always nice. And you will, if you were at that game, you will never forget it. And, and I like to say all the time that life's about making memories. And we had your friend Ray Kennedy come on in the post-game show. He had his son there with him. They'll never forget that night.
No.
They'll never forget that night.
No,
that kid's one of the greatest nights of his life.
Yep.
And for the dad, it's the same thing.
Yep.
And if that's not what sports is all about, I mean, we talked so much, and we have to, about so much of the bull crap that surrounds sports and professional sports and college sports and all that stuff. But I think we really need to underscore and count our blessings when a moment like this happens and it all comes together and it's your team. It's really nice. And it would be nice to turn on ESPN and have them actually talk about it, but I guess that's too much to ask.
It doesn't fit the narrative because it's all about the Eagles and what they didn't do and what they didn't accomplish because much was expected out of them. Nobody expected Baker Mayfield to do anything. Nobody expected this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team to do anything this year. It was supposed to be one and done, or you were supposed to be a 3 or 4 win team. And that's the great part about sports is it's not decided by a college football.
Thank you.
It's not decided by a network that, is sometimes on one side of it. It's decided on the field. That's the one thing you love about the NFL, where a backup quarterback like a Tom Brady, who could be drafted in the 6th round, could come in and lead his team to a Super Bowl. Like the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017, when you lose Carson Wentz, who's having an MVP type of year, and you have the backup quarterback in Nick Foles do the Philly special and beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. Everything is possible. That is why it's a great thing for the Bucs to be in there, because anybody can sit there and say, well, they're not on their way to the Super Bowl. You don't know. You have no idea. You have no idea. That's the reason why you watch sports in the first place. If everybody had an idea what was going on, we would all be freaking millionaires, because we'd be going to Vegas every weekend and betting on the favorites, and that's just not how it's done.
Doesn't work that way.
No.
Doesn't work that way. And that's why we love sports. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
It's the ultimate reality show, right?
Yes.
And maybe it's a little bit more scripted than we would like, but with all the intrusion that we're having now into our sports, it feels like. But that's why a night like that it was so magical. And Greg DeCruz, who came up from Costa Rica, just said this: I was overwhelmed with the emotion of the moment. You should be, man.
Yeah.
Good for you, because you were in the moment. And if you were not in the moment there, then you missed an opportunity. We like to say, be where your feet are, right? Live in the moment. Live in the moment as much as you can. Plan for the future in some ways, but live in the moment. Don't let it. Oh, are we going to beat the Lions though? Or we're never going to win. Don't let the past ruin your moment. Don't let the future ruin your moment. Stay in the moment. And if you can do that, you'll enjoy experiences like that so much more. And for everybody that was at the game, I mean, being in Peter, it's one of the things I hate about the press box, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all sealed off. You can't feel the crowd. So I went outside and felt the crowd a little bit, and it was magical, man. The place was just bananas. And you could actually, you can feel it through the glass a little bit, but not as much as when you're out. You can just feel it and smell it, and it was fantastic. A great night. All right. So as we move on, Todd Bowles yesterday, I thought was at his best at this press conference yesterday. He's feeling himself a little bit. I like that. He's a confident man, and he should be, and he absolutely should be. And I couldn't be happier for Todd. And this is, sometimes it takes a while for, Bill Belichick wasn't a great coach. I'm not saying that Todd's going to win 6 Super Bowls. Calm down, people. But as a coach, you go through it as well, right? You learn, and he learned a lot from his tenure with the Jets. Every season is different, and you can tell that he's growing as a coach. He did a lot of things in this game that I've never seen him do before. So let's listen to Todd Bowles. You could probably start it a minute in if you like, but whatever. Peter, just go right ahead.
Here we go.
On your first playoff win as an NFL head coach.
Thank you.
I know you wanted to get in 8 hours last night. Did you? And are you tired or energized right now?
Energized with a full 90 minutes of sleep.
Full 90 minutes of sleep.
Great.
He may not be joking about that, by the way.
Oh, come on now. Just a snippet. Let me
Do you really want that?
I said a glimpse. So, the myriad of emotions in the last 72 hours and now up until today, just give us a little glimpse of what's going on in your head.
Well, obviously, you have pregame thoughts and you worry about everything. And once you win, you're very happy. And then as soon as you get through the press conference, you got to get started on the next week. So it goes kind of fast. It goes from high to low to even keel to worrying about everything else. And you kind of prepare for the next week and you move on. It doesn't last long.
That's for sure.
What sticks out in your mind about the loss to Detroit and things maybe that you wish you guys had done better or differently?
No, we were where we were at that time of year. I don't wish we'd done anything differently or we wouldn't have learned from it. Very good team. They have a very good team, coached very well, very fast, very physical. Electric crowd's going to be up there. Wish we hadn't done anything different because we wouldn't have learned from it. Any of our losses from that matter. And we're a different team now. We're mentally tougher. Obviously, we've gotten stronger from it, and we learned some things. So we're still piecing it together, but we're happy where we're at.
The orange.
Can we pause it there?
Yeah, we can definitely pause it. Hold on. Stand by.
So insightful there from Todd, as you've learned from these losses, and sometimes people will say you can't learn from loss. Yes, you can. You can learn a lot from losing. And I think this is just what we were talking about, how he's learning about what his team can and cannot do. You got to go out there and try it and see if this works or see if that works. And when it doesn't work, you learn. So good coaches learn from that. They're not stubborn. They don't want to, all right, you're going to do it my way. You're going to do it my way. This is my way or the highway. And if you can't do it, we'll get other players that can do it. These are your players. You're not changing out the roster in the middle of the year. So if you want to be a successful coach, you got to adjust. And that's exactly what he did. And I think he's right. This team is definitely mentally tougher because let's not forget, this is a young football team. And as you know, they're a totally different team than they were earlier in the year. Let's continue.
All right. Hold on a sec.
No lessons in losing, but losing. You learn situational things that come with it, but that's really about it.
Todd, obviously things didn't go the way you wanted to the first time you met the Eagles, but how much did you change things up in your approach, just the attack, the game plan, the second time around? When it comes to blitzes, I think it was percentage-wise, it was roughly about the same.
It was completely different from the first time we played them, all the way around from a game plan standpoint. Base, sub, different packages. The guys were communicating better. We could do more since they had some more experience over the course of the games, and we tweaked some things around because what we did the first time, we didn't prepare it well.
Could you see that causing a lot of confusion on their part?
I can't speak for them, but it helped us defend some of the things that we gave up the first time.
Yeah.
Tom, I'm just curious about the origin of that six-man defensive front yesterday. Is that something that, when you're building the game plan last week, you install it, or could it potentially be something where you kind of had it on your mind since that first matchup in week 3 and you got a chance to play them again, you wanted to use it?
No, it didn't come up until game plan week, really. We thought about it, we looked at it, compared it to the passing game, and thought we can get away with a few things there, and added some things to it and tweaked some things. And, the guys, with the exception of the first play, they played it well.
What was the contribution that KJ has made? Because I think this was more of a split inside linebacker between him and Devin yesterday based on the package.
Well, he was on that package, and, they came out in it quite a bit more than they had in the past, and 12 personnel. So KJ is probably our best downhill thumper, and it was very good to have him in there for that. And like I said, KJ is a good football player. We think we have 3 starting linebackers in there, and he's a big part of that. He's earned his right to play. He's still a leader on our team, and he did very well.
All right, pause it. Pause it right there, Peter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's our best thumper. I mean, he's our best downhill guy. Our best.
That's over a guy like Devin White, who
How much-
is the 4th overall pick, right?
Yeah, but the bigger question is, if he's your best,
Then why isn't he playing more?
where the hell has he been
Right.
for 3 years?
Right.
Where the hell, or 2 years? Where the hell has he been? I mean, how long have we been talking about this?
Yeah.
Devin, you turn on the tape, it's awful. It's awful. And I know KJ probably has some issues in the whatever. I'm not going to even say that because I haven't seen it on the field. I haven't seen his issues in coverage. I haven't seen it. I think every time I turn on, he's right there doing what he's supposed to do. But his tackling and his thumping is phenomenal. And for Todd, that's a radical thing to do. To come up with a 6-man front. And look, the bottom line is you were not going to be in that game if they were going to be able to run that football. It doesn't. If they can run the football, you're done. So sell out for the run. Come up with something where you're not running the football. What's next? Oh, okay, Jalen's going to throw the ball. All right, with that bad finger and without A.J. Brown, let's see you. And that is fantastic, bold game planning and execution. And that's what we've been asking for. And that's so fantastic job. And I personnel issues, we've discussed this ad nauseum. Guys that should have been playing that haven't been playing. Those are coaches' decisions. And here we are at the end of the season. We finally rectified it. We got Diaby in there. We got, Aaron Stinney, who's struggling, obviously, but Filer wasn't getting the job done. We've talked about all these different it just takes too long on this team. It takes too long. But we're here where we are, and they got it right now, and that's the time they have to get it right. So here we go.
I want to go out to this here in care of Joe Bucs fan. Warren Sapp was on the Brooks and Beckles podcast, which is that's a must listen in itself.
Yes,
Beckles and Derek
absolutely.
Brooks. But this is what Sapp had to say. Bowles actually got in there and said, if you ain't performing, Mr. 45, I'm not even going to put you in the game. I'm going to deactivate you. That's what Warren Sapp said.
Yeah.
So we always talk about it, right? It's not just about urgency on this team and talent. It's also about accountability. And we've been critical of Bowles all year long on that aspect where it was, possibly deactivating Devin White, where it was taking out JTS and putting in Yaya Diaby, where it was, a guy not playing well in the secondary, making adjustments, putting in Zion McCollum. Those have been the keys to this season of this defense playing better and getting
Absolutely.
better overall. Just think about it for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when they say you criticize Todd Bowles, yeah, we have.
Right.
And these are the things we're talking about. And he made the changes. And I'm not sitting there saying we're smarter than Todd Bowles. No, he forgot more football yesterday than I'll ever know.
Sure.
But, they're in different positions. And sometimes coaches, there's a lot more to it than just, hey, I think that guy's a better player, right? There's politics around it. There's, but, to me, you got to cut through the BS. You got to cut through the BS, and it's got to be a meritocracy. And the best players, if he's your best thumper, then he should have been playing a hell of a lot more in certain situations. And, well, we got there, so that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
And if anybody knows about it, it's Sapp, because Sapp was the one that was calling out White last year for what? Lack of effort versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And sure enough, here we are. And maybe that was the turning point. Maybe that was the turning point.
There's no question. There's no question that it sends a message, as we've said so often. It sends them when you allow it to happen, you keep putting a guy out there that is clearly substandard. And there's some feelings in the locker room and in the press that he may be one of your favorite players. It's counterproductive to what the players see that. And the media certainly sees it, and it's dysfunctional. Yeah. It's not what football is supposed to be about. And when you clean that up and you get the best players out there and doing the best things that they do, well, first of all, the performance is going to be better. That's the most important part of it. Your performance is going to be better. You're better as a team on the field. And then secondly, I think players feel more empowered, and they're not coming back to the bench going, Devin missed his assignment again, another touchdown, and that happens. The players know, and it takes away your edge. Then everybody's not playing together. Then you see when you lose 5 of 6, that's what that's about. And isn't it interesting? The less Devin White has played, the more this team has won.
Especially on passing situations, because we were looking for it in the press box. We continue to look for it. Who's on the field? Well, why is that running back getting open? Well, Devin White, because they're scheming it. We saw it in San Francisco with Christian McCaffrey, right?
We've seen it for ad nauseum.
Times. Yeah, too many times. All right, we'll go out to Bulls. Here we go.
Continue.
Defensive scheme tweaks and personnel shifts from week 3 to last night. Is there one particular you think worked the best or had the most crucial role in having a better outcome?
No, I didn't. The 6th down lineman helped. I guess it might have deterred some things.
He's very humble.
Zion moving around from nickel to safety to corner to not really knowing what he is. He's kind of an enigma right now, and we just got to make sure we don't confuse him. I think that helps in coverage when we're trying to play a little more man, because now we got our 3 best cover guys out there. And other than that, the guys, we're letting our elephants be elephants and our giraffes be giraffes, meaning our blitzers blitz and our cover guys cover.
I like that. Baker evolve mentally, evolve and
our giraffes be our giraffes. I love that.
Surpassed all of his career highs and his stats. How meaningful to you and the team is it that it's on your watch? And if I may say, under your tutelage.
Well, I'm not an offensive coach under my tutelage from a game plan, from a managing standpoint, but I think the offensive coaches, Thad Lewis and Dave Canales, do a great job getting them ready, along with the O-line coaches, marrying up the run game and the pass game from that standpoint. It's great seeing Baker be Baker. He looks like he's having fun like he was in college. He's very relaxed, very intense in learning the game plan and mastering everything. And he's going out there and playing free and playing carefree, and it's really helping him. It's really helping us.
What impresses you the most of what Dave did in this game planning for this game last week, early yesterday?
Well, we stayed in attack mode most of the time. We had a little bit of a lull in the third quarter, but we were in attack mode, run game and pass game. We hadn't had that working quite a bit consecutively at the same time, so that was great to see.
Stay aggressive.
Step up, given the fact that Philadelphia wanted to take out Chris Godwin and Mike, but for your guys, role players that came in and really kind of stepped up.
It was huge. Palmer and Moore and Kate Otten, they came up huge when they defended Mike and Chris. Those guys, the catch and run plays that they made were outstanding.
The stat sheet may not have shown it for Mike, and he has games like that where sometimes his role is more of just occupying the attention of the defense so that other guys can get those opportunities. Can you just speak to his ability to be able to do that and how it helps you guys?
Well, he's going to work no matter what. I mean, he had his opportunities yesterday. I mean, one of them deep balls I thought we could have came down with, so we did go to him. But he's going to work no matter what, and he knows if he's drawing a double team and we're helping elsewhere, he's very happy with that as well.
Todd, for whatever reason, the Bucs haven't exactly been able to solve Jared Goff, who you're playing this week, whether he's been on the Rams or the Lions. Why do you think that is, that he's kind of given the defense a bit of a hard time going up against him?
He's a good quarterback. Real simple. He's a good quarterback. He can play. Great players around him. Outstanding offensive line. They got two very good running backs. They got speed at the receiver. They got shiftiness at the receiver, and they got two great tight ends.
The Eagles were so well known for 4th and 1, the tush push and all that, but you guys had a 4th and 1 and executed it really well with the unbalanced line and the wide pitch to Rashad. What did you like about that call and why it worked so well there?
Well, they've been crowding the middle, something they saw on film that we thought we can get away with. We blocked it well. I mean, we blocked it well. They did a good job blocking the 3rd and short stuff, did a good job in 4-minute again, just like they did the other week. And, we're getting better. We're getting better.
Getting a lot better.
Baker being Baker again. And he has mentioned that, too, that when he came here, you knew him back when, right, when you were scouting him and all that. So can you expand on that? Like, what do you mean by that? What was it that he had gotten away from that you wanted to bring to this team?
Well, he didn't come in here as the number 1 pick expecting to carry the team.
Right.
With all the expectations on his shoulders. We just asked him to drive the car. The car was built. We just asked him to drive it. We didn't ask him to put in a new engine. We wanted him to be himself because his personality would expand upon the team, and then they would see him for who he is and not for who anyone else was, and then they would gravitate towards him faster, and that's exactly what he did. And in doing that, he invited all the attention to him from the guys, and they really look up to that, and they really see the grit and the toughness and the preparation that he does, and he's ingratiated himself with the team that way, and that's all I mean by him being himself.
All right, hold up.
Hold up. Detroit.
Yes.
Hold up. Before we get to this great question.
Yes.
That answer right there was a masterpiece right there. And I love the fact that he talked about the different situations from a mental standpoint of what he was with the Browns and what he is here and what they were asking him to do. They put him and they just as he explained it right there perfectly, they put him in the position and said, this is what we want you to be. You don't have to do everything. It was such a great answer. And again, a great plan by Jason Light and this organization to bring a guy in it fits exactly what this team needed. And I don't mean this in a negative way for Tom Brady, but Baker is the anti-Brady, right? He is the anti-Brady in so many different ways. The Brady that came here, right? The anointed one, and deserved all those accolades, but all of the spotlight was on Brady. Whereas Baker is much more comfortable being part of the team, right? And and being out with the team and doing things with the team and being out in the community. He's just completely different in that way. That he wants to bring the attention to the team, and not that Tom wanted all the attention on him. That's just what happens. That's our fault in the media, right? Everything is about Tom when Tom's there. And I think that, any proud alpha male, which is what this entire freaking, locker room is in the NFL, wants a little bit of something. They want a little bit of spotlight. You don't have to give me the whole thing, but I'd like a little bit of credit here. And they never really got that as long as Tom was around. And again, not Tom's fault, media's fault. So with Baker, it's completely different. Everybody gets their flowers. And I think it's more of a team atmosphere, and it works better. And with his personality, which befits the underdog personality of the entire team, everything is coming together this is a perfect storm for the Buccaneers. And I'm going to sit here and say they're going to make a run and go beat teams that are just more talented than them. They might. They got a shot. They got a shot, though, if they play like this. But it's fun to see, and I think Baker's a good fit.
And that answer right there, Bucs fan, should
you'll
basically cool your nerves on Baker moving on to some other team.
No, he ain't going anywhere.
He'd
be crazy to go somewhere else.
Right.
And the Bucs would be crazy to let him go.
Exactly, because first, he has the stability. He has the consistency of the offense. You know he's going to be better with the second year in this offense. And then for that simple fact of they've allowed him to be who he wants to be. They've allowed him to be Baker. They didn't say, come in here as a first-round pick. You have to carry everything. And that's the problem with teams when they draft a young quarterback. They expect them to turn around the franchise sometimes just by themselves. That's how god-awful the Cleveland Browns are.
Yep.
The Bucs, they already have the weapons here. That's why I continue to say, well, he's going to go to somewhere else because he's going to get paid more money. No, not necessarily. Maybe he takes less money. He'll still get paid, a pretty good rate of change, but he'll stay here and take less than going to somewhere else because he's comfortable with that situation. And
he knows what being with a bad franchise and a coach that doesn't like you is all about.
Exactly.
Or you're not on the same page. He knows.
Yes.
And I think he's a pretty smart guy. You want to take a chance and go somewhere else where you don't know those people or trust those people as opposed to the people that are here and the stable and your teammates and everything else. He'd be a moron to do that. Yep. And he's not a moron.
Nope.
He understands how it works. This is a perfect spot for him. It's a perfect spot for the Bucs. And I think you got a really good marriage here in an offseason that should be kind of a tweener contract, 25 to 30 million a year, which is much less than, the 60 million that Dak Prescott and a lot of these other quarterbacks are making. So, yeah, I would be shocked if it was anything else. Both parties would be morons to move on. So, in that case, and neither party is. Now, speaking of morons, let's listen to this next question that's getting all the when you know it, all the great answers that Todd Bowles gave yesterday. And this is the moment that's getting all the press. Here we go.
The weather has been a factor in some of the playoff games, even for the most prepared teams. Today, it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures we've seen it drop to. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? And they got a dome. I don't. No, nothing planned. We're indoors, and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds getting off the bus, going under the thing, so we'll be okay.
This team had some struggles.
Stop. I can't tell you how many texts I've got about this, because people thought I was at the press conference. Was not. But I've been in a press conference with this particular reporter. I don't know her. I don't know who she works for. I think she works for Florida News Network, I've been told. She seems like a very, very nice lady. She seems like I've never had, maybe have a couple of encounters where there, but she seems like a very, very nice lady. Very professional. But it's clear that she doesn't, and it's been clear for quite some time, that she doesn't know a lot about football and doesn't know, she's not a beat reporter. Which these press conferences are not strictly for beat reporters, but beat reporters sit in the front row. You got, Rick Stroud, Greg Auman, the Pewter Report guys, myself, Ira Kaufman. I usually sit in the second because I'm not there as often. I give deference to the guys that are there every day. So I'm going to sit back. I'm not always going to ask the first question. If there's too much of a lull, I'll jump in. But I always try to give deference to the guys that are there all the time. But this particular person came in, sat in the front row, I'm told, kind of took over the press conference. That's not the etiquette that normally happens, okay? You defer to the guys that are there every day. That's just the way it's been. And we've talked about this before. She's not the only one in there that I'm trying to be as political as I can here. That is not, and it has nothing to do with gender or race or any of that stuff. It's just knowing football, knowing what questions to ask and what not to ask. And clearly this was a disaster of a question. You got to know, you got to be better than that. You got to be better than that. And that's just kind of what's going on in a lot of different places, right? You know, back 20 years ago, you had to have a ton of experience. You had to know what you were doing to ask a question in an NFL press conference. And it's not that way anymore, you know?
No, it's not. And you would think, you know, you going into that situation that you would actually, you know, do your research. And, you know, for me, going into the Jake Paul thing, my biggest nightmare was first, you know, this was my first boxing match that I covered. I wanted to make sure before I went in there that I didn't ask some stupid question and did as much research as I could on this because I didn't want to be caught with my pants down. Because do I cover boxing on a regular basis? No. But the worst part about it with being a reporter or a journalist is you don't want to look like an idiot and you don't want to ask an idiotic question, because if you ask that idiotic question, not only is that a reflection on yourself, but also, you know, the outlet that you represent.
100%. 100%.
I could not do that. That's probably the biggest nightmare you ever have. And I've had that happen before where I asked a question of a former Bucs player, you know, what are the expectations of this year? To win the Super Bowl. I would never, ever ask a question like that ever again.
Oh, listen, I've asked some dumb questions in my almost 40 years of covering. And those were times when I was not prepared, and I just wanted to get in, and and there was something that crossed my mind, and I asked a dumb question, not that dumb, right. Not that bad, but just not as thought out as it should have been, and it was because I wasn't prepared, and I felt embarrassed, and I should be, and it taught me a lesson. Don't open your fat trap until you're prepared to ask a question. Right. You know, you're being disrespectful to Todd Bowles. You're being disrespectful to the Bucs. You're being disrespectful to the NFL when you do that. So yeah, I learned my lesson, and I try to be as prepared as I can before I ask a question. And I go into plenty of press conferences where I'm not as prepared as I want to be. You know what I do? I shut up and listen. And if there's something that comes across me that I want to ask specifically, that I do know about, that I am prepared to ask about, I will ask the question. But I'm not going in there just to hear my voice on the website, or just to get a question in there because I know it's going to be on ESPN and NFL Network might be carrying it live. So I'm going to yell out a question that is so obvious. Instead of, just wanting to get information and ask a specific question about the game to a person that knows the answer that nobody else knows. I'm not big on, what does it mean? What are your emotions? I'm like, Todd, you blitzed on almost every third or fourth down, a lot of exotics. Where did that come from? That was the question I asked him. These are the questions I think that are important. We see these in post-game interviews all the time. And, the coach just made a decision on 4th and 1 to run a toss sweep, or 4th and 2 on a toss sweep. What did you see there? What did you like? What was your thought process behind that? That's what I want to know. Not how are you feeling? He just won the freaking Super Bowl. He just won a national championship. He's probably feeling pretty good,
Nothing more than feelings. I mean, well, what are you going to start singing? Is that what you're going to do in a press conference? I mean, you're exactly right. And I think that's probably the biggest fear of being a journalist / internet guy, or whatever you want to call me, is you go in there and basically you get your credential pulled because you ask a question like that.
So that'll never happen. That'll never happen.
Yeah. I mean,
never happen. Never happen.
Maybe it's accountable on their part too. Who knows?
The world we live in.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, we got it. Wow, we just went 49 minutes without taking a break. So I want to say a big shout out and thanks to the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo coming up at the end of the show. If you got any medical questions, you're sick right now, you want to know what to take to get you over this crappy flu or whatever, put them in the comment section. When the doc comes up, we'll ask them. Italiano Insurance, great folks over there. Do your insurance checkup right now. The Golden Diamond Store's got a great January sale going on right now, 15% off their birthstone of the month, which is Garnet for you FSU fans. So go get something Garnet and Gold. The Gettison Gordon Group for all your real estate needs. Great time. Smart people are getting in the market now as rates come down. Don't wait till rates come all the way down. Then everybody's back in, and it's a frenzy. Still some great inventory out there. Prices have stabilized. Great time to jump back in. The Geddes Gordon Group, obviously the best to do that with. The American Mortgage Services. Scott Fitzgerald will get you your mortgage or your refi right now, or your home equity loan. All those things in play right now as rates come down. Scott at amstampa.com. Synovus Bank, John Acosta, the great folks over at Synovus Bank. If you're not happy with your bank about what they're doing on an international level or political level, I know some of you are pissed off about that. Move on over to Synovus Bank. Great folks, very local feeling and atmosphere. A big bank that has a very, very small local feel to it. Synovus.com. So thanks to all of our sponsors for allowing all that conversation. We'll get all their spots in as well. So let's hit that break right now, Peter Blake, and get back to it. Trevor Sikkema and Corey Long coming up in our second hour. Stay with us. Are you tired of those stuffy, overpriced sports bars? Well, come join the fun at the Patio in South Tampa and watch your favorite football teams under the stars in a tropical paradise. Yeah, it's a unique setting with huge wood decks beneath the trees, and don't worry, they have an inside AC bar with all your favorite bar games as well. The Patio has all the NFL and UFC sports packages, and it's home to the Tampa Gator Club and Bills Mafia, but all fans are welcome at any time. Hey, my FSU buddies love to watch the Noles at the Patio. It's also home to a great happy hour. Weekdays get $4 White Claw vodka drinks and $4 White Claw seltzers, $1 off all beer and wine from 3 to 7:30. And every Friday happy hour, join us for Football Friday. It's our live broadcast from 5 to 7 with tons of specials and the fan mic for you to join the show. We'll have swag and ticket giveaways as well. So come out for the live broadcast 5 to 7 every Friday at the Patio and come watch football in a tropical paradise all season long. It's 421 South McDill, just a few blocks south of Kennedy. Everyone meets at the Patio. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this hump day, along with Peter Blake from the Sports Web. By the way, great job on the post-game show. If you guys haven't caught our post-game show, I guess that's the last one, unless the Packers go into San Francisco and smoke. You never know.
It's possible, right?
Never know.
I
Yeah.
mean, wouldn't that
And
be
then we win in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. But you saw Antoine Winfield Jr. and of course, by the way, that post game live on the sideline, on the field, taking your phone calls. Of course, sound effects, everything. We tried to read all your comments. I tried to read all your comments. That's why I was there until 1:40 in the morning. But Antoine Winfield Jr. after the game said, "This is a revenge tour." So you look at it. You lost to Philly, now you beat them. You lost to Detroit, you beat them. The next one would be San Francisco, you beat them. And remember, keep in mind, you had an opportunity to beat all those teams. It's not like, once again, they blew your doors off during the regular season. So I'm kind of wondering how Bucs fans are feeling, how confident they are against the Lions on Sunday. You want to wind me up?
Yeah, we can take calls today. Absolutely. Let's do it.
727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the JP Peterson Show.
Let's go to some of our great commenters out there.
Yes.
Lonnie Wilkins showing grace to our questioner, who, by the way, I don't know her. She seems like a very, very, very nice woman. It's just very unfortunate. It's this poor woman. These two media outlets probably slash the staff to save money and make someone like her cover sports when she's not comfortable doing so. God bless her. That's part of it. 100%. It's part of it. I don't know the situation. If she wanted to be there, is she trying to force herself to be there? To be in the limelight. I don't know, but didn't work out for her.
No, it didn't. Yeah.
James says this, which is also true. Now everyone in the national media will criticize the Tampa media for someone's mistake. It makes our market look bad, unfortunately. He's not wrong. He's not, but it's disappointing because there's a lot of great media outlets out there. Yes, there are.
We do this because we love to do it, but also we do it because we're professional. We got our stuff covered. Not everybody is, unprepared. And again, I'm not trying to throw somebody underneath the bus, but to just generalize the market in general, there's really some great, outlets out there that cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that do the work.
Yeah, there are. And, but there's a lot of, she's not the only one, folks.
Yep.
And it's, and I'm not trying to be sexist or any of that other stuff. There are plenty of dudes that ask stupid questions, in the press conferences. Just a note to everyone, the louder you yell doesn't make it a good question.
That's it. Going back to the Mike Tomlin stuff, you saw that where he walked out, where that question was asked if he was going to come back, and he just walks out. And then he informed the Steelers yesterday that he is indeed going to come back for 2024. But is that a question that you asked to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, to start?
Yeah. Well,
was that to start?
I believe that was to start the press conference, but it seemed like it was. And you have to ask the question any way it goes because it is a story.
Yes. When there's, reports out there from credible people like Adam Schefter that Mike Tomlin may take a year away. Of course the question has to be asked. But again, know when to ask. You just got done with a playoff game. Was it the first question and then he walked off? Because I saw it, but I wasn't sure if it was the first question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if it was the first question, but it was her first question. And I want to ask you, have you ever been a part of a press conference where somebody asks a question and either the athlete or the coach walks off and you're like, damn, why did you have to ask that question? Because basically now you've made it harder for me.
Depends on the question.
Yeah.
If the coach is, and I'm not saying this is the case here, but if the coach is going to be thin-skinned and just walk off, then that's on the coach. There's a lot of different ways to handle those questions. But I would say if that shouldn't be the first question. If that was the first question, that's wrong. You got to talk about the game first. You got to get through the game questions. And then, there's a feeling, everybody knows that these things post-game last about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on if you won or not, how the questioning's going. Is the coach answering the questions in a respectful manner? If he's really pissed off and you're not getting anything, there's no sense in to just keep asking questions. Just, it is what it is. It's done. And these are all things that come with experience and knowing, having been there, and reading the room is important. So, yeah, if those things are swirling around and Mike steps to the podium after losing a playoff game, the first question is not what's your future. That's unprofessional. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The first 5 to 6, minutes of questioning should be about the game, what happened. And then that's a fair question. It's an absolutely fair question. With what's swirling around Mike, that is an absolutely fair question. And he answered it by walking off. there's information in that, right?
Right.
But I would rather, I'd rather they answer the questions. But if that's your first question, that ain't cool.
Right.
I want to get to this comment here before we have to hit another quick break.
Yeah, go ahead.
Robert Durant, first time I've dropped in on the show and love the conversation. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you jumping in. But I just wanted to tell you what I was doing when the game was on. My aunt, who was a Buck booster in the 80s and 90s and is now 99 years old, texting me back and forth through the whole game, was amazing for me to share that Bucs win against the Eagles again to move on to the next round. Just amazing night. We love our Bucs. He wasn't at the game, right? But this is what sports does to us. It brings us together. Even your 99-year-old aunt, it brings emotions up in us that we don't have. So much of life sucks these days, doesn't it? It's just not the way it used to be.
Nope.
So much is, I don't want to go on a rant, but these are great moments, man. And sports brings us together in a very, innocent and pure way sometimes, right? And that was just a wonderful, wonderful time where we forget all about the other BS that's going on. It's just on the field, guys busting their ass, doing their best, being their best in front of a crowd, in front of the nation, making you proud. God, it's great. It's great. And it's great to feel that, at times when there's so much bull crap going on around here. So thank you, Robert, for jumping in. Thank you for sharing that story. That's a really, really cool story. Stay with us. I'd like to hear more stories. Tell me how it goes for the next round.
Well,
right.
The goal to me has to be win a Super Bowl before she turns 100.
Let's get Annie Durant on. Absolutely.
Right. There you go. Get her on after the Bucs win a Super Bowl, and then we could do 99 years old. 99, really? I want to live that long. I don't know.
Robert, let's get you and Auntie Duran on a little conference call. Get her on the show this week and tell me what she was thinking. I would love to have you guys on. That would be fantastic.
Yes.
The two of you. So DM me or whatever you got to do at jp@thejppetersonshow.com. You can always email me there. And let's get that. Let's put that together. That would be super fun. All right, quick break. Corey Long's going to join us. He was at the game on Monday night in the press box, enjoying this as well. Love to give his thoughts on that. Also a college football expert, also covers the Bolts. We'll get to that Steven Stamkos stuff as well. Lots coming your way. Trevor Sikkema from Pro Football Focus, former Pewter reporter, I believe, will join us at 11:30. So lots to get to. Dr. Lugo at 11:45 with all your medical questions. Back in 3.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here on this hump day and getting ready for a little Bucs Lions, still basking in the glow of the big win over the Eagles. Do we have Corey on? Peter, do we have him up ready? Not yet? No. We got Corey Long?
No, we're working on it right now. Stand by.
Cool.
Okay, you got your guide. It's going to be coming on here in just a little bit. But yeah, we're working on it right now. So let me just work on that.
All right, we'll go ahead and go to Rhett, and you work on getting Corey on. Let me know when you got him on.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do.
All right, there's my man, Rhett Rollison, Florida Southern Tennis. What's up, my man? How are you?
JP, how are you, man? I appreciate you so much having me on, and I can't wait to tell the guys about the Bucs win. All started on Saturday afternoon at Palmacia with a big tennis win that kind of set the tempo for the weekend.
Yeah, so you were there on Saturday at Palmacia with my buddy Sal Palantonio, longtime Philly guys, we know, ESPN, and John Clark, ESPN Philadelphia. I've been playing tennis against these guys for probably, 6-7 years. I've never taken a set off Sal, never beaten Clarky. I'm 0 for forever. I get one lesson from you, and we insert a ringer, and I finally get a dub, and that set the whole new game plan, right? Just like Todd Bowles, and worked out tremendously, right? Tell the story.
Well, it was just a quick 5-minute lesson, JP. Gave you a few tips. Obviously, your athleticism speaks for itself, so I didn't have to work very hard. And it might have helped the fact that one of my players, Matthew Hewitt, who's from Tampa, was dropping some 130-mile-an-hour serves on Sal and John. And, they were kind of mesmerized by that. And, you did your job. You did your role. You made a few returns and talked a little trash along the way. And Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay boys got an early win on Saturday. And I think that that set the wheels in motion for what was going to happen Monday night. And it all started with JP spanking a few forehands and taking the Philly boys down on the clay courts.
Rhett, can you give us a little trash talk from JP? What's that like? Because I haven't heard JP talk.
I'm sure.
A little bit, but
well, yeah, he was letting his partner do most of the action, and JP would kind of be the mouth after the point was over. Like bowing his chest out a little bit, saying, "Come on, boys, come get you some Philly boys." And but it was a lot of fun. And I tell you what, it's just the camaraderie with the sports media guys and just the togetherness that. I've known Sal a long time. I've known JP a long time. And just the fact that, we can still get together. It's like we didn't miss a beat and we get out there and have a lot of fun.
It is exactly. It's all about camaraderie. Nobody cares who wins except me. But the funny part was, so Matt, your player, who's a wonderful young man and a future great broadcaster. He's such a polite young man, and he's playing probably against these guys as he should, as you directed him to, right? I mean, Sal's what 60 whatever
67, I think
67, and still plays great. Whoops my ass every time. And John Clark is a really good player. He's about 45 and it's still very athletic, former basketball player. But Matthew's being very nice. He's serving about 50% as you instructed him, playing some good tennis, and they're playing good tennis. So we're up 5-4 and it's his turn to serve. And I turned to him and I said, if I don't see 130, I swear to you, I will throw you out of here immediately. I am not losing this match. And he said, are you sure? I'm like, yep.
JP looked back at him and says, okay, Matthew, it's go time. Let's close the deal.
I don't think I've ever seen 130 that close, Coach. I've never seen 130 that close. It literally is like, and you hear it hit the fence. It's like that. It's so fast. He's a hell of a player, and he finished it.
And that's exciting, and that's what it's exciting about the tennis season right around the corner, and having young guys like Matthew and having some older veterans like we have on our team. I mean, for a lot of guys, you got to see it firsthand. And Matthew's probably not even going to be in my top 6 in singles. He'll probably be in the mix for doubles. But the level of competition at Division II tennis in Florida is insane. And if you don't mind me saying, we start the season out on Sunday against Ashley Fisher and the USF Bulls, where I spent 5 years as an assistant coach and have a huge amount of admiration for Ashley and a lot of their players. So as a Division II team, probably a top 15 Division II team, it's a huge challenge for us, an opportunity for us to go out and play the Bulls on Sunday. And I'd love to have as many fans come out. I understand you might want to leave at 2:30 so you can get in front of your TVs at 3. I'll take that. I'll take what I can get. But no, it's exciting, JP. I love what I'm doing. As you know, I have a passion for tennis.
Yes.
To be able to do it in Lakeland at a beautiful institution like Florida Southern College with the staff all the way from President Kerr to athletic director Drew Howard. The support for athletics is great. The facilities are great. The competition's great. And so as a 52-year-old guy, it's exciting to be in the middle of tennis season and those competitive juices still flow. And I'm really excited about where I'm at.
Well, Rhett, you're very humble. You've been a huge part of the tennis scene in Tampa Bay for a long, long time at USF. And the level of tennis, if Matthew's your 6th best player, I'll come watch you guys play anytime because that's phenomenal. He's just such a nice young man. So I can't wait to come out and see you guys. Might not be this Sunday because I'll be a little busy, but I'm definitely going to come out. So where are the matches? Are they free to come to? If somebody wants to come out and watch, where do they go?
Yeah, Florida Southern College is in Lakeland, Florida. We have a beautiful campus. Just got rated the 6th most beautiful campus in the country by Princeton Review. We're proud of our campus. We're proud of our facilities. A great academic institution, great athletic institution. Right on campus, no charge. We have some really cool events throughout the year. We'll be doing racket giveaways, different kind of giveaways with some of our sponsors.
Nice.
I sent you the link of the schedule, so hopefully you can share that.
Yeah, I'll post it.
Yeah, we start our home season. We'll start in February. We host probably 7 or 8 of the top 15 teams in the country because everybody likes to come to Florida and play where it's a little warmer.
Yeah.
And so we're excited about our schedule. We're excited about our team. And again, this Sunday you'll be in Tampa at USF, and we'll hope to get some of the Tampa crowd there. But listen, it's a short drive to Lakeland. It's a beautiful campus, beautiful facilities, and I think if you come watch high-level Division II tennis, I think you'll go away being very impressed and realize that it's kind of a hidden jewel here in Lakeland, what we've got at Florida Southern.
Oh, that's really cool, and I look forward to doing that. I've been driving that I-4 corridor, so I'll definitely stop in and see you guys. So at the USF tennis facility, which I think is right around where the Sun Dome is, right? So
yeah, it's actually just north, kind of where the new football complex is.
Right.
And we'll be teeing it off with the Bulls at 1:30 on Sunday. and if you're familiar with college tennis, we start with doubles,
Right.
and then we play 3 doubles for 1 point, and then we play 6 singles. So there's a total of 7 points. So, and I
Nice.
know most people can relate to doubles better anyway. So come watch the doubles for
Yeah, it's
45
great.
minutes, and then get home and watch the Bucs.
It's so entertaining, and great athletes, great young folks out there. So look forward to seeing you, my man. And we'll do some tennis tips. You come on here from time to time. Go ahead, give me one tennis tip that you gave me, which you helped my forehand tremendously for the folks out there.
Yeah, your backhand was incredibly solid. So we spent a little time on the forehand, and you kind of like, I call it the front shoulder fly out. You know, it's like you rotated that front shoulder and that front hip way too early, and we just made a simple correction that, hey, let's hold the front side, let the ball travel a little bit deeper, because we all get anxious, right? We want to hit the ball, and we want to see the result of our instant gratification of hitting a good shot. So what do? We yank our head up, and when we yank our head up, the ball goes up against the fence. So it's important to really not get over anxious. Let the ball travel a little deeper and keep your head down. I mean, if you'll ever watch the old slow-mo videos of Fed, after he makes contact, his head stays down for a split second afterwards. And that's just a quick tip that I think everybody can use, no matter what level you are.
It's a great tip. All right, Rhett Rolliston, Florida Southern Tennis. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'll post the schedule out there. 1:30 at USF. It's going down. Florida Southern against USF. That'll be a great match. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
Go
JP.
Mocs. Go Mocs.
Right, thank you. Go Mocs.
And go Bulls too. We love the Bulls too. All right. Is Corey on?
Yeah, we had him on here. Let me see if I can get him back on.
You want to take a quick break and then get him on?
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll reset everything like that. And great conversation there. Great.
Yeah, that was fun. Good stuff. All right, quick break. Back with Corey Long right after this. Stay with us.
Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com, or call 813-485-6808. Are you tired of those stuffy, overpriced sports bars? Well, come join the fun at the Patio in South Tampa and watch your favorite football teams under the stars in a tropical paradise. Yeah, it's a unique setting with huge wood decks beneath the trees, and don't worry, they have an inside AC bar with all your favorite bar games as well. The Patio has all the NFL and UFC sports packages, and it's home to the Tampa Gator Club and Bills Mafia, but all fans are welcome at any time. Hey, my FSU buddies love to watch the Noles at the patio. It's also home to a great happy hour. Weekdays get $4 White Claw vodka drinks and $4 White Claw seltzers, $1 off all beer and wine from 3 to 7:30. And every Friday happy hour, join us for Football Friday. It's our live broadcast from 5 to 7 with tons of specials and the fan mic for you to join the show. We'll have swag and ticket giveaways as well. So come out for the live broadcast 5 to 7 every Friday at the patio and come watch football in a tropical paradise all season long. It's 421 South McDill, just a few blocks south of Kennedy. Everyone meets at the patio.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. Apologize for the delay to getting our good friend Corey Long on, who was covering the Bucs game on Monday night. It was quite an atmosphere. What's up, Corey? How are you, buddy?
He is not on right now. We're still trying because he just got a call in that he had to jump on. So
okay, cool.
He's a busy guy too. So
He's very busy.
We'll definitely try to get him on. He's got the number, but before he does come on, if we want to take some phone calls, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Listening to you talk trash, that was interesting in itself. I've kind of heard you say that. I feel like if we were partners playing tennis and, I had to do something, you would say, write it down, Peter. I said, write it down. Write it down. Keep it written down.
Write it down. Keep your head down.
Keep your head
the forehand. Yes. Yes, absolutely. He's a great coach, Rhett, and just a couple of good tips like that. Now, we played a little bit on Sunday before the rain came in. Of course, I forgot everything he told me and played like crap. And Clarky and Sal they were well on their way to whooping our ass on Sunday, but the rain came in and Sal's like, I ain't getting the cold. It's the playoffs. I'm getting out of here. That's a pro broadcaster right there. That's what Sal Palantonio does. He's like, nope, I'm not playing in the wet cold. Peace out.
Yeah.
So it was a good weekend of tennis and football and all that good stuff. I want to, by the way, get this in real quick. Our good friend Greg Wolf and Braden Coburn on the Block Party podcast, which can be heard on The Strike at 102.5 HD2, which you can hear our show live on there on terrestrial radio HD2. Just go to your FM dial if you got a newer car. I think post 217. You can just go to HD, search it. It'll say 102.5 The Bone. And then underneath it should say 102.5.2 HD. So just lock that one in. And it's, 100,000 watt FM station. And we're doing all types of lightning content. And our show is also added to that lineup. We're on intermittently now. Just there's a technical thing going on, but I think we're going to be on most days. So try it out. See if you can listen to it live. And they also put up all this great content. The Block Party podcast with Greg Wolf and Kobe is really, really good. And last night they had Stammer show up. So they did an hour with Stammer, which was,
wow.
I haven't heard the whole thing yet, but really, really good. So I'm retweeting that. I just did. So go check that out. Great podcast. We got some great content every day. We got the lunchtime show with Greg Anelli and Dave Mishkin. That's live every day on 102.5 HD2, The Strike. So check that out. We're building that into a really nice sports channel. Steve Versnick is on in the morning with the Lightning Update in the morning, the daily update. And so that's like 15 minutes of all you need to know, things Lightning. And then we'll come on from 10 to 12 and give you more of a broad perspective of Tampa Bay sports. Then you got Greg and Mish at noon. So if you're looking for an alternative to other radio stations, this is a great one. We got great content up there. We do replays of the game, the Martini Mondays podcast with Chief and Phil are on there as well. And you can also get this all on the Lightning app as well, all this content. But you can, if you're riding around and you want to try something different, 102.5 HD2, check out the great content there, which we are a part of. So very proud to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So we can't cuss anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we can't.
No more F-bombs, no more S-bombs.
Maybe, I don't think we've ever said an F-bomb, but maybe, the other one.
We said fudge-sickle a few times, but, that's fine.
Fudge-sickle, yeah.
And by the way, the big news, Julien Brisebois yesterday did a press conference and said, Stammer ain't being traded. Don't even talk about it. Not happening. He's going nowhere. Deadline's coming up. Stammer is not being traded. Bottom line. So that's good to know. And I think it's good for Stammer to know that. And even though he had a no trade anyway, he's in control of that. But those rumors, there have been some murmurings going around about that. And I think, this team is settled in now. They've won 4 of 5. We got Minnesota coming in tomorrow night. They're just a dumpster fire right now with all their injuries. We beat them a couple weeks ago up there for the first time since 2011. So get a couple of these points, and you're starting to get on a roll a little bit. Vassie's getting better, getting back to full Vassie. The defense is getting better on this run. They've held their other teams to an average below 3 goals, which is big news because this team, I think, as it sits now, is the 6th worst goals against in the league. So defense has got to be better, and it's getting better. So they're trending in the right direction. And that's good news. After they play Minnesota, we got a run of some Eastern Conference teams that we're playing against in the wild card because maybe tough to catch the Toronto for 3rd place. But I think we're, maybe 5 points behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But, every game is going to be crucial from now on. Every 2 points is going to be crucial, especially when you're playing these Eastern Conference teams. You're battling in the wild card. There's a clump of 6 teams, in both divisions, the Metro and Atlantic, that you're going to be battling against. And you got a lot of those games coming up. So division games, those are 4-point games. And some of these new defensemen that have come up have really helped. So I think the Lightning got a shot to get a lot better as the season goes on, very much like the Bucs, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fiddling, a lot of meh. But find your groove. You still have a lot of great players that have, Stanley Cup pedigree, and Stamkos and Hedman, and Kucherov is leading the league in points and is playing better than I've ever seen him play before. Every time he gets the puck, he's dangerous. So they got a lot of good things happening for this team. I know it's, a lot of fans are looking at it as, Brisebois maybe made some questionable signings, maybe should have put some more money towards defensemen. But he has a chance to make some moves coming up. They've got salary cap room. It's going to go up by about $4 million at the end of the year. He said, we'll look at Hedman's contract when that's done, which will be next season. So, when the cap is this tight and you're trying to keep as many players as you can, it's tough on Brisebois. He would like to have kept everybody together, but that's not the way it works in this league. So you got to make tough choices like Ryan McDonough and Yanni Gord and all these
Alex
other
Killorn, who just came back to town, which, by the way, the Lightning, I don't know who's better. Is it the Bucs social media or is it the Lightning social media? Because
that's pretty good.
That tribute to Killer.
Fantastic.
It was. And look, that's what great organizations do. They come out and say, we're going to keep our own players. They re-sign them. They don't just get rid of them. They don't trade them off like stock so they can cut money. You know who we're talking about. And I don't know.
Talking about the Rays?
Yeah. Because, fan favorites just go by the wayside over and over again. The Lightning don't do that. And that's the reason why they're so consistently competitive and win Stanley Cups. They go for it. So I'm not really surprised by Stamkos not going anywhere. And I think people are making too much of a big deal about that because, once again, it goes back to the whole Baker thought process. If you're Stammer, why would you want to leave the Lightning when you have Kucherov, when you have Braden Point, when you have Vasilevsky, when you have Hedman, when you have an organization that has re-signed you before, when you're happy where you're at? Why do so many fans out there think that, they want to go somewhere else because of the money? It's not just all about the money, ladies and gentlemen. It's about other things. There's other intangible factors of keeping a player like Stamkos happy.
It's a great point. It goes to the player as well. If you got a player that's just chasing money, Devin White, let him go.
Right.
Let him go. The priorities aren't, Steven Stamkos could have chased the money, and as much as we say that was a turning point for the franchise, and it was a turning point for Steven Stamkos. Yeah. He won 2 cups here. The venture to say, had he gone to Toronto, he wouldn't have won squat.
Nope.
Squadouche. Even adding him would have made a difference, no question about it. But, it's just an awful franchise. They don't know how to win anything. So, yeah, he made the right choice, and he made the choice not based on money. And I tell you kids all the time, never make a choice based on money as the number one priority. It will more than likely come back to bite you in the ass. There's a lot of other factors, and Steven Stamkos is a perfect example of that. Had he gone to Toronto and chased the money, they wouldn't have had any money to give to any other players, and he'd have been up there racking up points and 0 Stanley Cups. And he's got 2 cups to show for it, right?
Yeah.
So so do Lightning. So a perfect symbiotic relationship, right? This next go round is going to be tough. He's going to he'll get some other offers from some better places, not better places, more money. But he'd probably do best to take less and stay in Tampa Bay. I mean, he's got more money than he'll ever spend in his life. So what's the deal?
There's a reason why those bad teams are overpaying, because they're so bad. That's the reason. That's the reason why they're overpaying. They have to overpay.
Right.
They're bad. There's a reason.
Yeah. And again, if you do that, you're not gonna, you're just, the chances are it's not going to work out in your favor. If you look, you can look at a lot of different situations where that's the case. All right, we're going to take another quick break here, and we are going to get Trevor Sikkema on board with us. We'll chat with him and Chris Lugo coming up at 11:45. If you have any medical questions about trying to keep from getting sick, what you could do in your nutrition, jump those right in the comment section. We'll hit him with that in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at Synovus Bank, the big bank with a local feel. Go to synovus.com and tell them JP sent you. Back at 3.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and 0 downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Hey, the holidays are almost here, so take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. Reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. And engagement season is here as well, and we've got the largest selection of engagement rings, so visit us to find that perfect ring for that special moment. Looking for financing options? How big a ring can you get when we give you 3 to 5 years interest-free financing to make your dream jewelry more affordable? So this November, make sure you choose the Gold and Diamond Source for jewelry that's always stylish and unique, because your special someone deserves something to be thankful for, right? Find the perfect gift at the Gold and Diamond Source. Don't settle for factory-made imitations, folks. Make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond for a truly special piece of jewelry. It's the best folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source, 4800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this hump day. Appreciate you guys jumping in. So I want to get a little national perspective on this big Buccaneers win for a guy that knows Tampa Bay pretty darn well because, I mean, after all, his Twitter handle is Tampa Bay Trey. We welcome in Trevor Sikkema from the great folks at Pro Football Focus. What's up, Trevor? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, JP. Appreciate you having me on.
No, thank you so much for joining us. I know you watch a lot of tape. I'm always interested to see your posts on what's going on with the Bucs. And this tape of the Bucs Eagles is anybody who loves X's and O's. It's a dream to watch. It's a master class in strategy. And Todd Bowles really outclassed Nick Sirianni and his whole coaching staff with his defensive game plan. What did you see? What did you like?
Yeah, I think the Bucs did a lot of really great stuff. But honestly, I'm shocked that the Eagles didn't. Like, truly, the Eagles have been bad for weeks now, right? I mean, they've been bad for a long time, since the beginning of December, really. But when you look at what Todd Bowles did to the Eagles, a lot of it was based off of heavy blitz formations, heavy blitz calls, whether it was bringing linebackers at the middle, whether it was slot players off the edge, the safety guys coming down, whatever it was heavy pressure, because that's what Todd Bowles is all about. That is his bread and butter. The Eagles should have known this. This is not anything new. It's not like, oh, surprise, the Bucs are going to be aggressive. This is Todd Bowles' mantra for his entire career, going back to his time as defensive coordinator, when he was the head coach of the Jets. This is just what he does. And the Eagles never adjusted. And I think
no answer.
The game, when you talk about like the chess match and going back and forth, the Bucs called some really early blitzes on some first downs and especially some second downs.
Yeah.
I think they did that in the first quarter to try to see if the Eagles and their offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson, was going to adjust, because the Eagles were going at it empty a lot. They were putting 3 wide receivers on the field. They were, spreading Dallas Goedert out, off the line of scrimmage. And so there wasn't a lot of extra protection. And so they were overwhelming the line of scrimmage with those first couple of blitz calls. And the way that it should have gone is the Eagles should have adjusted. Okay, we got to keep Dallas Goedert more in line. Okay, we've got to keep a running back here. Okay, we've got to do more condensed formation stuff. Or at the very least, we've got to have some quicker hot route throws that Jalen's got to be able to go to. And he knows that he can go to it if there's going to be a blitz called. And that just really didn't happen, at all. There was just no adjustment from the Eagles side of things. And so, hats off to Todd Bowles for being aggressive right off the bat and basically saying, hey, we're going to throw haymakers at you. If you can block them, then we'll start to back down a little bit and we'll see what becomes of this game. But he threw the haymakers and the Eagles couldn't block him. And eventually they became knockout punches for that offense to a point where they couldn't put enough points on the board. So it was a great job by him staying true to himself and really starting off that game in a way that carried him to the end.
How surprised are you, Trevor, by Kalijah Kancey and Yaya Diaby's impact so early on? And do you think they've made the big-time impact of why this defensive line has gotten more pressure here in the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I would say that I'm more surprised with Diaby, and that's just because I thought it would take him a little bit more time, right? A physical specimen, right? This dude who was able to test extremely well, high weight adjusted explosiveness scores. So you knew this guy was going to be an athlete enough for the NFL level, but could he really put it together, especially in his rookie season, his first season, to contribute as much as he has, especially down the stretch? I think that is certainly a pleasant surprise. When you move over to Kalijah Kancey, a lot of what he is doing right now looks exactly what it was for his Pittsburgh tape, which on one hand, you could say, yeah, we should have seen it coming. He ended up being a top 20 player in the class for me on my final 2023 big board, just because of how brilliant he was as a pass rusher and how well he could still hold his own as a run defender at that lower weight profile. But still, you guys know this, NFL is a different game. You're going up against grown-ass men every single week. So it often takes guys time, especially when you are coming from a size outlier profile, and that only gets multiplied when you're talking about guys in the trenches. So for Kancey, even me liking a lot of what I saw with him at Pittsburgh, the fact that the tape looks that similar, going from Pittsburgh to the NFL, he's having that same level of success, is a surprise to me in the best way, because we always knew it was there, that he was capable of it. but to hit the ground running in the trenches, especially on the interior and especially for being a size outlier, that is something that you just got to, tip your cap to and say Jason Light drafted a hell of a player.
Yeah, Trevor, it's interesting watching him practice, and you see his size when you see it up close. His size is, and then just interviewing him. I mean, he's from a defensive line standpoint, he's so small. So yeah, he had to learn. He's learned leverage plays his entire life, right, and been able to beat it. But now you got bigger, stronger guys, so it's going to be probably a little bit different technique. He's probably going to have to be a little bit quicker, a little bit. But great athletes. And great athletes adjust, right? They figure it out. It takes some time, but they figured it out. And we knew we'd see a little bit of improvement, but that last game, that was something else. You guys had him graded at what, 82, the top inside defensive lineman. And that was against an offensive line that is considered one of the best in the league. So I think we can project moving forward. It's just a player that's going to get better and more impactful, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, 6 total pressures led the team, almost a 15% win percentage last week, which didn't lead the team, but it was close to one of the best on the team. And you're right, he had the highest pass rush grade of anybody on the Buccaneers as well. So it's, this team, when you kind of look at where they're at, you and I were texting a little bit this morning. It's again, more of a pleasant surprise once again that they are here in the divisional round in the playoffs. I don't think anybody thought they were going to get to this point. And look, I'll be honest, the last 2 weeks, haven't really played great NFL teams.
Awful.
The Eagles, I know they're very talented on paper, but they've been one of the worst teams in the league for about a month now. So Eagles were reeling. The Carolina Panthers, they're not a good team. Obviously, their record says that. So the last 2 teams they played, not exactly the competition that they're going to play this Sunday, but all of that to say, part of the reason why the Bucs are even here, and going back to some of those conversations that we had before the season, is you looked at this roster and you said, if this team's going to make it, they need really key contributions from their young guys, their second-year guys, their rookies. And, Cody Mock had to step up, and he has. Cade Otton's had to step up, and he has. Trey Palmer has stepped up as the vertical receiver in this offense. Kalijah Cansey's playing a major role. You mentioned Yaya Diaby as somebody who is breaking out. Christian Izzian's been a starter in the slot
really
for the
good
entire season. And so it's like you got to rattle off all of these young guys who, when you looked at the Bucs roster, sure, there was okay, if this guy steps up, but there were a lot of ifs on this roster. A lot of those ifs have now become solidified playmakers for this team. And they're playing with house money, if you will. I think it's because of the job that those young players have done.
What's the most concerning, Trevor, matchup here against the Detroit Lions on Sunday? What's the biggest concern? Because you look at the first matchup, 20-6, but it was 10-6 until, Jamison Williams goes down and hits that big play on Ryan Neal. So it's a close game. The Lions, I felt like the Bucs were never out of that game. So what's your biggest concern with this matchup on Sunday versus the Detroit Lions?
It is the Lions passing attack versus the Buccaneers secondary. And I think the big reason why is you've got to throw in what Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, is doing. We started the show talking about how the Eagles simply did not adjust at all whatsoever to the Bucs pressure. Let me tell you, the Lions are not going to be that unprepared. They're going to be very prepared for what the Bucs do, for what their bread and butter is, like we mentioned. And it's going to take the secondary really stepping up to be able to mitigate that. I think that the Bucs are going to continue to stay aggressive because that's what Todd Bowles does. And I think we have seen in the past this season, when Bowles has gotten more conservative in his coverages and his blitzes, he doesn't really players to do that, right? Jamel Dean, he's kind of like a press man corner. Carlton Davis, it's the same way. Christian Izzian, he likes to be physical. He likes to get his hands on guys. When you start playing these players off the ball and you're asking them to play zone, cover 3 or quarters or whatever it is, that's when you start putting them in situations they're not nearly as comfortable with. So I think they're still going to have to play more man coverage with those players because that's their strengths. But the Lions have really good receivers who have been eaten up in coverage all season long. So when the Bucs bring that blitz, the Lions are going to have those checks. They're going to have those guys to go to, and it's just a matter of winning those one-on-ones. And I think that the biggest matchup of the day to me is how the Bucs corners are going to do in man coverage against the Lions wide receivers. Because if you can look your other guy on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, look him in the eye and just say, I'm better than you. I'm about to cover you. You're not getting open. If that happens kind of across the board, which is a tough ask, I understand.
Yes.
Then I think you get into a point where if Mayfield has another great day again, you're going to be close towards the through the fourth quarter, and you're going to have a chance to win that football game once again.
I so agree with you on that, Trevor. And, Goff has been incredibly accurate. It's not going to be like Jalen Hurts with a bad finger and no answers from a scheme standpoint in the blitz. These, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is a fantastic wide receiver and route runner. They've got a few of those guys. So I totally agree with you. And this is where it scares me, because if you put it on paper, right, and Todd's going to say, I don't know if we can keep up with these guys for the whole game. And you can't. You're going to get beat, maybe for a couple of touchdowns, but you're also going to make some plays. And you got to force – the only way to force turnovers is to force pressure. Sitting back, they're going to eat you up anyway. So Todd has to just – and I think that's what he did this against the Eagles with AJ going down. I don't think he was as worried, right? So But this time you got to you're putting your chips in the table. Last time you had a pretty good chance. This time you got in Goff and these receivers that know what they're doing. And he's very accurate. So you're going to get burned, but you got it. I'll trade 2 touchdowns for 2 turnovers and 4 sacks, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that AJ Brown being out of that Eagles game
is huge.
Was a massive shift, and I think the confidence that the Eagles had in their passing game, and they're not lacking confidence in Detroit. So I agree with you. You got to stay true to your. You've almost got to. You live by the sword, die by the sword, right? And I think that that's really the way that the Buccaneers have to play this. Not that you want to get reckless with it, but they have to know if we're going to win this game, we need to do so by being aggressive, hopefully creating a couple of turnovers. And if they do that again, I think the offense is rolling well enough to give them a chance in the end. But even the offense, I think, still needs to play a little bit better against Detroit.
Yep.
Trevor, where do you stand on a Baker Mayfield? Do you bring him back with an extension? And what are the differences you've seen this year from years previous?
Yeah, I don't think it matters what I think. He's going to be back in Tampa no matter what. The fact that they won the division, and I think the fact that the way that he played against the Eagles, I think is something that basically solidified that contract. You look at what Geno Smith signed for a couple of years ago, 3-year contract, a little less than $100 million a year. A lot of flexibility in that, a lot of the guarantees, kind of the front half of that contract. Like, I feel as though that's kind of the conversation that we're talking about here. So essentially, I assume that Baker's probably going to sign for a 3-4 year deal with the guaranteed money essentially making it a 1 to 2 year deal. And then you've got some flexibility after that so you can revisit it. That's how I feel the organization feels about him. But, he has played well enough. And I really do believe that. I think that it's been a combination of a lot of things this year. Dave Canales has kind of gone through his ups and downs and being a first-time play caller. They were not able to run the ball at all whatsoever during the first half of the season. It's gotten better in the second half of the season. So you continue to get better along the offensive line. You get more of a running game that can help alleviate some things. Baker has not been perfect. Obviously, he's still got a lot of turnover-worthy plays this year to go along with some of those big-time throws. But that's just kind of who Baker Mayfield is. And I think that is kind of the conversation of where we are with him. And that for where this team is right now, where he was able to take this team in the first year, is worth investing in for them, especially since they're not picking until 24th, 25th, 26th now because they did the divisional round. So that to me is where he's at right now. And I think he's coming back.
Trevor, do you still think you can get a quarterback where the Bucs are picking? Do you think this organization would look to draft a quarterback seemingly because Kyle Trask hasn't really gotten the opportunity? The organization has kind of told you, in my opinion, that they don't have much confidence. So where the Bucs are picking, do you think they look to draft one of these quarterbacks in 2024?
I don't think they're going to look that direction. I think there's a chance that, a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix, could be there somewhere in the 20s where they're selecting. I just don't think they're going to do it, especially because the deal I believe Mayfield's going to get is essentially going to be a 2-year deal with probably, more money. The totality of the deal is probably, like I said, going to be a 3-4 year deal, but a lot of the guarantees are going to be, I think, in the first and the second year. So it's essentially going to be a 2-year deal. unless you love one of the quarterbacks that's falling, and even if you do, I just don't know if they're going to be in that mindset. They're basically going to say, hey, we're going to run it back next year. We like what we saw this year. And if it really goes downhill next year, well, then that's when you draft a quarterback, right? Like that's when you're picking top 15, top 12, something like that. So I think that's when you start to have that conversation. I think they'll have the opportunity to do it, but just like they had the opportunity to draft Will Levis last year and didn't do it, I just don't think they believe the timing is right for where they currently are.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Great stuff, Trevor. Find him on the X Machine at Tampa Bay Trade, TRE. Lead draft analyst at PFF. Trevor, I've got to have you back on because I want to get your thoughts on Jordan Travis and a lot of other stuff as we move through the draft. Thanks for you jumping on. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
All right. Trevor Sycamore right there. I can't we don't need to be talking draft. Peter Blake, we're still in the playoffs. What are you doing?
No,
that's for the Saints, man. That's for the Falcons.
I had to ask the question because it's what fans are talking about, even if they're in the
playoffs. Fans? Ain't no fans talking about the draft. We're in the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Let's go.
Playoffs.
We got plenty of time to talk about the draft when we're done. All right. We ain't done yet. All right. Let's bring in our good friend Chris Lugo from Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Who did you go to the game Monday night? Or were you home sitting you didn't want to get a cold out in the you thought it was gonna rain, huh? Like a lot of other Bucs fans.
No, I had a few other things in my life to do besides go to the game.
Yes, of course.
And Peter, thanks for jinxing the Bucs, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
For what?
Talking about the draft.
I'm just talking about the quarterback situation. That's all. I didn't jinx them.
Doing?
They're going to beat the Lions on Sunday, okay? Mark it down. They're going to beat them.
Good.
Tour. There you go.
Yeah, the good thing the game's not outdoors, right?
Right. It's outdoors. You know, I'm looking at my crystal ball right now. Antoine Winfield Jr., you're playing the role of Rondé Barber right now. Revenge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's all working out. It's all working out.
Better be doing some Rondé picks then.
That's right.
Picks then.
Hey, you watched the game, though. You're a big
great
Bucs
game.
fan.
Like I told you, they looked like the Bucs from the beginning of the season. They looked solid. And it was like the old ball coach, little fun and gun there, right?
Yeah.
And they were throwing the ball left and right.
Yeah, I think they've found their sweet spot. No question about it. They've this is the team that they should have been all along. But it's hard. You got to get there, right? It's a lot of trial and error, and you got to see what works and what doesn't work, and then go from there. Kind of like in medicine, right? Sometimes you got to see what works best.
Medicine, correct.
See how they segue there?
Yeah.
What's going on at the office? What are we seeing? What do we want to talk about today?
Allergy season. It's coming up, and
Yeah.
everyone's going, "What? Come on, bull." Yeah, allergy season will be here. Those little trees outside called oak trees.
Yes.
They're going to start dropping that pollen in the next few weeks. So now is a good time to get prepared for that. So some recommendations would be NAC and acetylcysteine. We just call it NAC, NAC. Quercetin, zinc, selenium, vitamin C.
So that'll help the allergies.
That's going to help the allergies. It's going to boost your immune system along with a good gut health. Having a good, happy, healthy gut. We talk about it time and time again, but you got to get that immune system up in order to start fighting these allergies. Now, if you wait till allergy season starts, you're behind the 8 ball. So you got to start now.
Here's a crazy home remedy I heard, but kind of made a little sense for allergies. They said they were talking about if you move to a new area and maybe some allergies are getting to you, go find a local honey spot.
You got it.
This is real. So the bees obviously, are pollinating all over the place.
Correct.
So you get local honey and it kind of gives you some immune factors, or how does that work? It's interesting.
You got it. So so some honey growers, honey bee people, what they'll do is they'll actually make a allergy blend. Okay. Cool. Bees do a lot more for us than people actually realize.
Yeah.
There's about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe it's been longer than that, we had an issue where bees were dying off.
Right.
Beekeepers were freaking out. Crop growers were freaking out because they actually will they'll get beekeepers to put beehives out to fertilize or to pollinate crops.
Right.
That's a big ordeal. All right. So
Yeah.
what happens is these bees will go out, they'll pollinate wildflower, they'll pollinate orange blossom, they'll pollinate all sorts of flowers out there. So these beekeepers will actually make a little allergy blend of that, and that has minute amount of those pollens that affect us that will help build up that immune system too.
Fascinating.
They'll do a spring season, they'll do a fall season honey blend. Yes, I give it to my son who's got bad allergies like I do.
Wow, and that really helps.
It
That's
does help.
crazy.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like these more natural remedies are better than big pharma remedies?
Well, because the big pharma stuff are doing a lot of blasting and blocking a lot of receptors. We call metformin a dirty drug, and we call it a dirty drug not because it's dirty, because it hits a lot of receptors, and a lot of these allergy stuff do the same, and they'll blunt a lot of the stuff that we need in order to make
good stuff, right?
Good immune system. So we can use the more natural stuff. And look, I'm not anti big pharma. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I believe they're overstepping their boundaries in the last few years, and they're getting worse. That's beside the point.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have good natural remedies that we can rely on. And then when we have to, then we go to big pharma in order to help out.
In natural remedies, and you talk about gut health, and I was dealing with this the other day. You talk about yogurts, but there's good yogurts and bad yogurts. There's like some yogurts are just loaded with sugar, no good. So what are the good ones? What are the bad ones?
I like the Greek yogurts out there, and we can segue right in that little honey. Like a great thing would be for a dessert. If you don't want to get ice cream, get a good Greek yogurt. It has the natural bacteria that we need, lactobacillus.
Is there a brand that you like? Is it organic?
Several that I like. Who else out there? Stony Brook makes a good one, which is like made out of whole milk. Fage, Fage, is a good one also. But there's several good brands out there who use grass-fed cows, which is really good to use. And that's what you're looking for. Find a good Greek yogurt that's using grass-fed cows. That's going to be the big thing. And don't go for the fat-free stuff. Stop being afraid of the fat-free stuff.
That's
that came from a guy named Ansel Keys back in the 60s and 70s. That's a long story, but don't buy into the fat-free stuff. That fat is good for you. Your brain is fat. But look for those. Put a little of that little allergy honey on there. And that's a great little dessert for you.
Okay.
That's good, especially for kids, I would imagine.
Got
it. Deal with allergies. And while we're on the nutrition thing, because I'm trying to get my stepkids to eat better.
Correct.
Processed food is just no good. And are there some things that are going to be more palatable for them that they will eat?
Well,
any recommendations?
You put that honey in there.
Yeah, that'll work.
The sweetness that they want.
Yeah.
That's the best aphrodisiac out there right there is actually fat and sugar. Okay. That gives you a good dopamine rush. That's what ice cream is. So if you get that Greek yogurt in, then you can put that little honey in there. I think they're gonna buy that all day long.
Any other nutritional advice right now? Because I know there's so much stuff out there that's not good, but that you like that because you got kids as well. What's on the menu at the Lugo house for the kids? Do you do a lot of protein shakes?
Honestly, it's a lot of venison. So hunting season just ended up in Georgia. So my kids love venison, and well, I got one of them who doesn't know, but they do eat venison, unbeknownst to them, because I'll get the ground meat. I'll put that in chili. I'll put that in what we call taco over rice. They eat it all day long. They don't realize it's actually venison. My other son, he eats venison sausage every morning. It's pepper jack and cheese. It's great. Had some this morning. That with eggs. Eggs are powerhouse food. But I'm a big venison guy. My freezer is actually packed with venison right now. So I'll have
but that's fresh stuff. If you
fresh stuff and doesn't get much more organic than that.
You can't stomach triggering, Bambi. Is there where do you buy it?
Wild Fork. Wild Fork is up the street from my office.
Yeah.
They actually have good venison. They've got elk, they've got bison, they've got all sorts of stuff up there at Wild Fork.
Yeah.
I believe that Whole Foods has some venison. I believe that Fresh Market also has a little bit of cuts too. Not a ton. Wild Fork is your place to go to get if you want to get some venison though.
Cool. All right, great stuff, Chris. How can they get all this great knowledge from their doc on an everyday basis? BAMMC.com.
Yeah, you got to tie them down. Western medicine is getting worse. These big groups are buying up. So I'm the alternative, right? So concierge medicine is the alternative to sit down. It's direct fee. People don't understand that, but you get more time to sit down and chat and talk. And I don't sit there and talk the whole time. I listen to you talk, which is not the usual story with most of them. So best way to get a hold of me, go to the website, BAMMC.com, book your appointment right there. You can do telehealth if that's easier for you, for those people who are out of the town, or, I got patients all over the country, but telehealth's a great way to do it too.
Yep, that's great. Hey, Chris, thank you so much. Appreciate it, buddy. Go Bucs. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Peter. Hi, JP. See you guys.
All right.
See you, Chris. Good stuff.
BAMMC.com. Quick KW4 wanted to ask a lightning question. I heard you talk Bucs, but Red Lightning may get Maroon back, and Wild would eat half his salary. What do you think? I'm for it. And I think he's got some deficiencies as a player, all that, but we need a crap starter in that locker room right now to hold everybody accountable and get them going when they're a little bit down. That was a big part of his role, and I think this team is missing that. I really do. So and the other guys that we got on these other lines aren't really contributing, that we thought, could boost a little bit and give us that. They're not. So I think you got to make adjustments like Todd Bowles has done. It works. You get better as the year goes on. That's the other thing we learned from the Brady legacy. Get better as the season goes on. Improve every week. Find your deficiencies. Work on those. Get your strengths. Make them better. Have an identity and know what you're doing and stick with it. And this week's going to be the ultimate test. I think Trevor laid it out so nicely there. You blitz the Eagles, but they didn't have a whole lot of answers. The Lions got answers, and you got to go play. But play to your strengths. If you sit back and zone, they'll pick you apart anyway. It'll be a death by 1,000 cuts. But if you can get some big plays, that's what you trade off, right? Get a sack fumble, get a pick. That's going to be the difference in turning the game. That's how you win on the road. You got to get turnovers, and you're not going to get them sitting back. Golf will pick you apart, and Todd knows that. But stay aggressive because you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. I'm on Ross St. Brown's probably going to have a big day, but you got to trade it for a couple of big plays and see what happens. Playing with house money, man. Roll the dice. Let's go.
Supposed to be there, and I tell you right now, I go back to our post-game show live from Raymond James Stadium, which you guys should tune into, because I do believe we are going to have another post-game show live from the field.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
They can definitely beat San Francisco. I think they will beat San Francisco. It's always the hottest teams, but you look at the Lions and how emotional they were as a team, as an organization, the fan base. I'm not sure if they can get up with that same effort.
No.
But I think this Bucs team can. I think they can. I think they've hit their stride here. And I tell you right now, Jared Goff is not Brock Purdy.
He's good, though.
He's
good. He's really good.
All too well, when you get pressure on Goff, you can force him into some things that he doesn't want to do.
That's right.
And that's
right.
When Phil Jr. comes into play.
All right, we shall see. Great job, Peter. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate all our commenters. And thank you very much for participating in the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, JP Peterson Show, FanStream Sports. Also, our podcast on Apple and Spotify. You can always listen to this as a podcast and on fanstreamsports.com at FanStreamJP and at the JP Peterson Show on X and on Peter's Facebook page as well. Peter Blake, the Sports Web. And his YouTube channel. So we're all there all the time. Please subscribe and like, and please have a great day. Go do something for somebody else today. Do a kind bit of service to someone else, and go Bucs. See you tomorrow.
Go Bucs.